Hi, hello students. Welcome to Indian Tech Guru for you. So in today's class, let us learn about register transfer language and micro operations. Register transfer language and micro operations. First of all, what is meant by register transfer language? Register transfer language. So using register transfer language, we are going to perform the transfers between registers. What we are going to transfer? We are going to transfer the data or content of the register. So content of a particular register from one register to another register we are going to transfer. So in general, whenever we are going to perform the transfer, how we are going to perform the operation. So let us assume a C language a statement is there. C is equal to A plus B. C is equal to A plus B. So however, uh, this particular C language statement is converted into several micro operations before it is being executed by the processor, such as R1 assignment A, R2 assignment B, R3 assignment R1 plus R2, and finally C assignment R3. So one single C language statement has been converted into 4 micro operations. 4 micro operations. Sometimes these micro operations are also called as basic steps. Basic steps. So one single line code is now converted into 4 different lines of code. However, if we do not have a specific register transfer language, then we might have written these statements in English language, like move the content of variable A. Variable A will be residing in main memory. Okay, variable A to register R1. Similarly, move the content for this particular line of code. Move the content of variable B to register R2. For this line of code, add the contents of register R1 and register R2 and store in register R3. And for this line, move the content of register R3 to the variable C. Like this, we are going to write in English statements. So which is cumbersome as well as require much time. So instead of writing like that, we can use this short form known as the register transfer language. So using the register transfer language, we can represent the prolonged sentences into easiest language. So even though we are calling it as a language, so it is not actually the language like C, C++, Java. So the C, C++, Java are basically the programming languages. So whereas this register transfer language is actually a representational language. So because here we are not going to perform any executional things. That is, we are not going to execute these steps using a software like C, C++, Java. But to represent efficiently, we need such a language which is known as the register transfer language. So basically, whenever we are going to build a computer system or digital system or computer system, this digital or computer system is built with some of the basic building blocks. So which you might have studied in 2-1 syllabus, 2-1 digital logic design syllabus. You might have studied several concepts such as flip-flops, decoders, encoders, multiplexers. So these are all the basic building blocks of to manufacture a digital computer. Transistors, diodes. So all these are the basic building blocks to design a computer. So however, after you connect all these different basic building blocks, there must be data transfers. There must be data transfers between them. Okay. So from one particular component to another particular component, there must be data transfers. Similarly, within a particular register itself, there must be some changes. Okay. For example, assume an 8-bit register. So what is basically a register? A register is nothing but a memory. Okay. So what is the fastest memory in computer system? A register memory is the fastest memory in computer system, as it resides inside of the processor. Register memory resides inside of the processor. So that is why it is the fastest of all the memories. Okay. So what are the other memories in computer system? There is a main memory, which we generally name as RAM sometimes, or it may be called as primary memory also. Okay. Main memory, RAM, or primary memory. In addition to this main memory, RAM, primary memory, we have the hard disk drive, or recently SSD, solid state drive. So even though this hard disk drive or SSD is used for permanent storage, their functionality is different. Inside of the hard disk drive, there will be a disk, whereas SSD is basically manufactured using RAM technology. However, it stores the content permanently. Okay. And sometimes we may have in between the main memory and the register memory a special memory known as the cache memory. We will discuss about cache memory later. So cache memory is also similar to main memory or RAM. However, it is faster than main memory or RAM. So this is the basic hierarchy of the memories. Now you know what is register. Okay, it is a type of memory. If you assume an 8-bit register, then what happens in this particular register? Assume we have stored a particular value. So 10101010. Now there may be several possibilities. One of the possibilities, the content in this particular register may be altered. For example, if I want to perform one's complement for the existing data, 1 will become 0, 0 will become 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Like this, it is going to change. So what does it mean? It means that we are not moving the content from one register to another register, but we are altering the existing register content. We are going to alter the existing register content. Okay. So such type of operations are performed in registers. So that is either the data transformations may be performed within them, or sometimes what happens, assume that this is register 1, and if I say R2 assignment R1, then what happens? The contents of register R1 will be moved to register R2. Okay, so at this time there will be data transfers between registers, registers. Okay, so coming to the register transfer language, so it has some properties. What are the different properties of register transfer language? In short, we can say RTL, register transfer language. It is a symbolic language. It is a symbolic language or representational language. Representational language. What does it mean? We are not going to execute this code. We are not going to execute register transfer language code like a programming language. Okay. So this register transfer language so is a convenient tool for describing the internal organization of digital computers. So what does it mean? It is going to perform the data transfers. It is going to perform the transformation within itself. Such operations are performed using the register transfer language, and it works in the basic design process of the digital or computer system. Okay, so it facilitates the design process of a digital system. Okay, similarly, it is a convenient tool for describing the internal organization of digital computers. Internal organization of digital computer. Okay, so these are the basic characteristics of a register transfer language. So what are they? It is only symbolic or representational language. It is not a programming language. It is going to facilitate the design process of a digital system. How we are going to design a digital system? What are the basic building blocks to design a digital system? So what are the data transfers between different components of the digital system? All these things are carried out. Similarly, it is a convenient tool for describing the internal organization of the digital computer. That is how the internal organization occurs, how we are going to connect hard disk drive to main memory, how we are going to connect main memory to the motherboard, how we are going to connect the processor to the motherboard, how the data transfers between all these devices occurs. All these can be understood in an effective way using the register transfer language. So however, before moving further, we need to know what is the representation for registers. What is the representation for registers? So already we discussed that registers is nothing but a register memory. Inside of the processor, there will be several registers which are named as R1, R2, R3 and so on, Rn. Like this, several registers will be there, and these registers are generally called as general purpose registers. General purpose registers. General purpose registers. Okay. So what does it mean? These registers are used for general purpose. What is that general purpose? Already we have seen. If you want to move the content from main memory to register memory, then these registers may be used as intermediary storage area. Okay, before actually performing the arithmetic or logical operation by the processor. In addition to these general purpose registers, there will be some special purpose registers. Special purpose registers which are actually are going to do some specific functionality. For example, there is a register known as MAR. MAR means memory address register. memory address register. So this memory address register is a special purpose register. What is its purpose? It is going to either read the content, from the memory location. So always memory means memory is going to represent main memory. Okay, memory is going to represent main memory. If you want to specify some other memory such as a register memory, then you have to say that register memory. Similarly, if you want to specify some other memory, hard disk memory, then you have to say hard disk memory or secondary memory. Hard disk memory is called as secondary memory. Otherwise, if you simply say memory, what does it mean? It is going to designate the main memory, that is the memory which is containing in RAM. So what is the purpose of a memory address register? It is going to fetch a value present in a particular memory location and store in a particular register. Okay. Similarly, it is going to perform the other side also, that is it is going to write the content to a memory location specified by MAR. Okay, memory address register. So that is why this MAR has a special significance. So in case of data transfers, either fetch operation or store operation, either read operation or write operation, this memory address register is very, very important. Similarly, there is one more special purpose register known as the PC. PC means program counter. PC means program counter. What is the purpose of PC is it will represent the address of the next instruction. Address of the next instruction means, so generally in a particular program there will be several instructions. Okay, there will be several instructions. So for example, if you consider a C language program, which you will be familiar, several lines of code you are going to write. Okay, so however there must be some indicator which is going to represent the address of the next instruction, initially the address of the first instruction. So because always the program is being executed in a sequential fashion, line by line. First line is executed first, second line is executed next. So that is why there must be an indicator, a pointer, which is going to represent the address of the next instruction. So that is actually carried out by the program counter. It is a special purpose register. Okay. So similarly, one more register is there that is called as the instruction register. Instruction register. So instruction register is represented by IR. Instruction register. So this instruction register is going to actually represent the instruction to be executed. What are the different types of instructions? It may be an arithmetic instruction or a logical instruction. It may be an arithmetic instruction or a logical instruction. Okay, so let it be any type of instruction that must be stored in instruction register before it is being executed by the ALU, arithmetic logic unit. Okay, so don't think that both these memory address register, all of these memory address register, program counter, instruction register, will occupy the same space. Okay, so that is not correct. Their structure will be different. Whereas the general purpose registers will be of same size. Okay, always the general purpose registers will be of same size, whereas the special purpose registers will occupy different sizes according to the requirement. Okay, so you may think that the PC and MA are going to hold the addresses, so that is why they may occupy a very less space compared to the instruction register, because the instruction register is going to occupy the instruction to be executed. Similarly, there is one more register known as the MDR. Okay, MDR means memory data register. Already we discussed that uh, whatever the content fetched from the main memory, that may be either instruction or memory. Okay, so if it is instruction, then it will be moved to instruction register. If it is data, then it will be moved to the memory data register. Okay, so if you observe all of these registers, then what is the naming convention? For these registers? The naming convention is always the registers are represented in capital letters. Okay, we have seen here MAR caps, IR caps, MDR caps, PC caps. So all the registers are represented with capital letters. Similarly, it's a combination of capital letters as well as numbers, R1, R2, R3, a capital letter and number, RN, like that. So this is the naming convention to represent a register. Similarly, we can represent registers in diagrams in different ways. For example, if I want to represent a register R1, I may represent like this. R1. What does it mean? Register R1 occupies some space. Okay. Sometimes we may represent like this. We are going to specify how much space it is going to occupy. For example, it is an 8-bit register. Then we are going to specify those 8 bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this is the 0 location. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 0 to 7. 0 to 7 locations are there in this particular register. Similarly, instead of showing the entire content, we may show the starting as well as the ending bits of the register, such as 0 to 15. 0 to 15 means this represents the register R2 occupies 16 bits, 16-bit register. It is a 16-bit register. For example, if you display like this, register R3 0 to 31, what does it mean? It is a R2 is a 32-bit register. Like this we are going to represent. So in addition to that, sometimes what we are going to do is we are going to represent two halves of the register. Okay, two halves of the register. For example, there is a register R3 of L and R3 of H. R3 of L means R3 of low. R3 of H means R3 of high. Okay, low level bits, high level bits. So it may be bifurcated as 0 to 7 and 8 to 16, 8 to 15. Okay, so actually the entire register R3 is a 16-bit register in which R3 low is going to occupy 8 bits, and R3 high is going to occupy another 8 bits. So like this we are going to represent a particular register. Okay. So this is the naming convention and diagrammatic conventions to represent a register. So once we know the representation of the registers, we should know the basic data transfers between the registers and how to represent the data transfers. So as we have discussed previously, if I say R2 assignment R1, R2 assignment R1, what does it mean? The content of R1 is moved to register R2. What does it mean? The content of R1 is moved to register R2. Okay. So whatever it may be inside of the R1, that is directly moved to R2. However, when this operation need to be performed, is there any condition, is there any control regarding this operation? Because a computer is a digital device, there must be some control mechanism, there must be some control functions, then only the operations will be performed effectively. So that is why sometimes we may place some control mechanism for operations like this. For example, I may say P colon R2 assignment R1. P colon R2 assignment R1. What does it mean? It means that if P is true, if P is true, so P generally, true is generally represented with 1. That is, if P is equal to 1, then perform the operation R2 assignment R1. Okay. That is, previously there was no control operation. So directly we are saying that move the content of R1 to R2. Whereas now we placed a constraint. We placed a constraint. What is that constraint? What is that constraint? So P colon R2 assignment R1. That is, if P is true, that is if P is equal to 1, then only perform the operation R2 assignment R1. Otherwise, don't perform. Okay. So now this is a control mechanism. How we can represent this control mechanism diagrammatically is, so this is the content of register R1. We are going to move the content bitwise. If there are n bits, then we are going to move the content bitwise to register R2. Register R2. However, now we are controlling this operation with a control variable, with a control signal P. Whenever the control signal gives permission, then only perform this operation. Okay. So who is going to control this P? A control circuit. A control circuit is going to control this operation. Okay. So similarly, in addition to the control circuit which is going to control this operation, any operation in computer system must be done using a single clock pulse. Using a single clock pulse. Okay. So our clock cycle, we generally say clock cycle. So in computer system, several clock cycles will be elapsed. So at a particular clock cycle, a particular operation must be performed. So that timing signal will also be there. So we can have that timing signal like this. During one clock pulse, we are going to perform this operation, and this clock pulse is actually intimated to the control circuit. Okay. So here there will be clock. This is not the clock which is going to which is actually shown in our computer system. That clock is different, this clock is different. This clock will work in nanoseconds, whereas our clock will work in seconds only. Okay, this is not the clock in computer system, remember that. So how this timing diagram look like? Timing diagram look like the clock is going to generate several cycles like this. Several clock pulses are generated. Okay. So when to load the content, we are going to start the operation at a particular time t. Okay. And before the time t plus 1, before the time t plus 1, perform the operation. What is that operation? Move the content from R1 to R2. Move the content from R1 to R2. So before the time t plus 1 elapses, what occurs? Moving the content from R1 to R2. Okay. So this is the timing diagram which is going to represent several clock cycles, and in one particular clock cycle the load operation is performed. Okay. So like this way we can control the operation. We can control the operation using a control signal. So what is the control signal here? P is the control signal. So in addition to control signal, so there will be clock pulses also. Every operation in computer system is performed in a single clock pulse. Okay. So sometimes more than one operation can also be performed parallelly in a single clock cycle. Okay. So like this we are going to perform the basic data transfer between one register to another register. So we'll continue remaining topics regarding register transfer language in the next class. Hope you understand the content. That's all for now.